During his presidential campaign, Wajackoya talked about planting bhang and having a large scale of having a snake park. He also talked about hyenas, but I'll not talk about hyenas. I want to talk about the snakes, and I also want to talk about bhang growing. But please understand that the initial story that Wajackoya started about bhang is not the one that he ended up. The initial one had a different message from how he ended up. The first intention was that we go to, let's say, semi-arid land where we have water underground, get say 1,000 acres, do bhang growing in the 1,000 acres. After growing bhang in the 1,000 acres, we should, after doing the 1,000 acres, it should be for medicinal purposes, but not for recreational purposes. The initial story he had was that we should have bhang growing for medicinal purposes. But as the campaign went on, he changed from wanting bhang to be grown for medicinal purpose. He started campaigning for it to be for recreational purposes. Why? Because he is a politician. A politician would do or say anything to gain votes. But let us go to his initial plan, which I support. You know, bhang, mira and others are drugs. Drugs. And I prefer using the Swahili word for it. Drugs in Kiswahili are called madawa ya kulevya. Intoxicating medicine. So, this issue of people taking drugs, smoking bhang and whatever, especially for recreational purposes, it's like taking heavy drugs. I remember there was a British king who was worried that he could be poisoned. So he started a system where he started testing small poison, until there's a time he could take a whole glass of poison and nothing would happen to him. In that situation, he was now comfortable that should anybody want to poison him, the poison would do nothing to him. And then one time he got fed up with the life and he took poison wanting to die. But his body was used to poison, so he did not die. That one is also with the drugs, any drug, including bhang and mira. If you start taking bhang slowly by slowly, bhang is used to operate people. For example, before science caught up with us, there was a time when you are walking in the forest and you stepped on a gorilla trap. It would cut half of your leg between the knee and the toe. So what they used to do those days, you would be given a lot of whiskey and then you black out, and then the person would just cut you the way they cut beef in a butchery. By the time the alcohol gets out of your body, you already find a bandage at your knee. But nowadays, If such a thing happens when you are riding a boda or anything, they just inject you. And the technology nowadays is so much that they can even inject you and you see what is happening without feeling it. So that is why I support his initial plan. Right now, if you are bitten by a snake, drugs are bought from out of the country and it becomes so expensive. Leave alone that, if we were to have our own snake park where we rear our own we have several snake parks, but they are very few. But if we could have so many snakes that are placed so that if one is bitten by a snake, you know, if you are bitten by a snake now, you are treated by a drug that comes from outside the country. So snake farmers in other countries benefit. But if you are bitten by a snake, and we have snake farms in Kenya, the snake farmer in Kenya gains. And the hard currencies, the dollars that we are using to buy snake venom for our treatment, we will not lose it. And that is why we are having some of these economical things. So that is why I support that. I would want to say that during have you ever asked yourself, the population of NIS officers in the country is less than that one of KWS, Kenya Wildlife Services. But the budget for the NIS is more than the Kenya Police Service. When I say Kenya Police Service, I don't mean National Police Service. I'm saying Kenya Police Service. Now you find the budget for the NIS is more. Why? NIS is a very important department. In fact, even NIS works so well, such things as police and other provincial administration will have a lot of their work reduced. But you see, we are unlucky, because we can work so well 999 times, but the one time that we mess, the whole country knows. Westgate happens, Dusit 2 happens, the American Embassy happens. So you find that in an NIS, we usually have a lot of actuaristic science. We have an actuaristic science whereby we look at, you know, you go to the office at 8, leave at 5. How look at your profession. You have done a lot of things, isn't it? But what has the NIS done? NIS has done what I call actuaristic science. Actuaristic science here, I mean, like imagining that and even identifying a place where we could have such a thing as 1,000 acres of bhang and such a thing. So all the time NIS is trying to imagine the various scenarios, and that is why even when they meet people during our time tuliharibu, because you introduce yourself as a special branch officer, everybody takes off. But you see, in the course of imagining several scenarios, you are supposed to engage experts in those fields and ask them, because for a farm 1,000 acres to be planted in somewhere semi-arid, we have to talk to people, doctors at Madari. We have to look at it. We have also, before it is even started, we have also to look into aspects of security of that. How sure are we that somebody will not place a few leaves in his pocket and go and sell that? So such and such a thing. But if we could do that, a lot of things in Kenya, Kenya would be a very rich country. In fact, Kenya is like DRC. If all the minerals in DRC were properly used for DRC, it would be better developed than many of the Western countries. Imagine Kenya has always known that it has oil in Merti area, in Habaswein, in Isiolo, in even Turkana. Recently, we also are supposed to have discovered coal in Kitui. You see, if we use our natural resources so much, Kenya would be developing, and as Kibaki had wanted, Kibaki was saying, why don't we, because we always talk of our country going for loans abroad, and Kibaki once asked us, why don't we develop our country such that the neighboring countries, those who are surrounding us, can come to us to take loans the way we go to other countries? Because people talk of we getting loans from other places, but they don't know that it is the tax of the people of those countries that we are borrowing. Why can't we also develop our taxation to an extent that we also countries from neighboring countries can do that. Lastly, on the issue of bhang, when the bhang is properly developed and whatever, you know, in Kenya, if you are found with bhang, you are charged with having drugs without a doctor's prescription. And even when the doctor has prescribed, you are supposed, because for a doctor to prescribe, these people who are in Bunyore and Nyamira, they just take it according to their own. But if you have mental challenges, the doctor would prescribe, maybe you have the drug of a certain extent. You are not supposed to overdose or underdose. If a doctor prescribes such for you and you underdose or overdose, you are committing a crime just like the person in Bunyore and in Nyamira.